on the line with me, Sean Worthington from Chico, California. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Sean is the lead scientist for cloudcoin.global.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It's a consortium of, it's a group of people that are, and this is a particular type of coin. And now I've read enough of your website to know that you're not really calling this a cryptocurrency. And we're in our 4-part series on cryptocurrency. And actually, it's become 5 radio shows so far, but we're going to put it into 4 videos. Anyway, I am still trying to get my brain wrapped around this cryptocurrency thing. And just so you know, Sean, you know that this is a real estate show, and we've been talking about cryptocurrency and real estate and the relation, and what do real estate investors, who might be listening to this show, what do we need to know about cryptocurrency and so forth. But here you come along with a whole other thing, and you distinguish yourself from cryptocurrency. So tell us a little bit about CloudCoin and maybe highlight some of the differences.
Sure. And let me tell you that I got the idea for CloudCoin when I was working on my dissertation. I'm trying to get a PhD in computer information systems. I'm all but dissertation right now. What I realized is that monetary systems are in fact information systems, and that money plays the role of data. And the significance of this is that we have a bunch of rules that we use to apply to data in the field of computer science and computer information systems. And I was able to take all those rules and just apply it to monetary systems. And with that, I was able to design what I think is the world's perfect currency. I was able to create a model for a perfect currency. And that is, in fact, how we got CloudCoin. CloudCoin does not rely on the blockchain. The blockchain encrypts every transaction that ever happens, and it stores it forever. Makes it impossible to change anything or delete anything. But we don't track any of the transactions. CloudCoin doesn't require any kind of accounts. You don't have to sign up for anything. Instead, there's clouds all over the world, and they detect a CloudCoin for authenticity just to make sure that it's not counterfeit. So ours is basically just a counterfeit detection system, completely different system than cryptocurrencies.
Okay, I know what you mean when you're saying clouds. You're not really talking about the little fuzzy things in the sky that are in the shape of animals. You're really talking about servers.
Yes.
And just to be clear, I mean, because we have people from all ages and walks of life listening to this show, including some who were born and lived most of their lives and career even before computers were commonplace. So we're on the air in several places in Florida. Just want to make sure we're clear.
That's right. The cloud technology is a technology where you've got all of these different servers. They're spread out all over the place. If one goes down, you don't lose your data because your data is redundant on other servers. And so the cloud becomes a place where you just don't know where it is, and you don't really care. It's just this big
right.
somewhere up there.
I mean, the cloud is a good metaphor. I guess we could call it a gang. It's a gang of servers, but cloud sounds better. All right. So let's focus on CloudCoin for just a moment. I noticed on your site, now the other gentlemen that I've interviewed, Key Real and Stan, so far, I've looked at the sites and so forth, and frankly, I've been a little confused looking at the sites. I'm a novice. I've done some reading on Bitcoin, and I've done a lot more since we started this series. But I tried to set up a wallet on BitShares, and I think I succeeded, but I'm not really sure what's going to happen with it. Your site, on the other hand, is right there directly. There's a spot where you can just buy some of these CloudCoin.
Yes.
Or no, what's the plural? Is it CloudCoins or CloudCoin?
Well, we don't really have a rule.
All right. Some of those things, whatever they are. All right. But so I see it's very easy on your site. I see how to do it, but what am I going to do with them?
Well, we could kind of compare, go over what Bitcoin is and kind of compare it.
Yeah.
With Bitcoin and other coins that use the public ledger, they're going to, let me start by saying that Bitcoin was the first digital currency to solve what's called the physical integrity problem of digital money. And the problem is that if I've got digital money, I can just copy and paste it 1,000,000 times on my computer, or I could delete it, or the government might come in and turn off my server, and then that's the end of the whole system. But the Bitcoin was able to figure out how to do that by using the blockchain. And so the Bitcoin is not a system that hackers can bring down. It's not a system that governments can bring down. It's not a system that individuals can bring down. That's what gives it its physical integrity, makes it viable as a digital currency. CloudCoin does the same thing, only it does it differently. It does it with clouds of servers instead of having to rely on encryption. But there's some big differences. One is that the Bitcoin, the blockchain, uses this what's called a public ledger. That means that you've got a bunch of accounts and then how much money that each account has written on a database. And that database is then mirrored or copied or cloned onto different servers so that it cannot be just deleted off of one and it disappears. But with the CloudCoin, we do not have a public ledger. We don't require anybody to sign up for anything. You don't have to have a password to use it. That's because every CloudCoin has its own accounts. So the CloudCoin is like a person. If I want to give you one, I will send it to you. And inside of it, it's a file with all these different codes, all these different passwords. And what you do is you go and you take it and you check all these passwords and codes against all of these clouds all around the world to see if they're good. If they're good, they will change and you will have new passwords and codes that only you know. So whoever knows the codes is the one that owns that CloudCoin, and you can verify it by checking it with this counterfeit detection system we call the raida.
Okay. So, but let me circle back around and ask the question again. So I've got a CloudCoin. What can I spend it on?
Well, we see lots of transactions happening in our database. We can't tell what's happening, but we can see that they're being authenticated. And I can tell you what I spend them on. And we actually hire all of our system administrators, all of our programmers, all of our marketing people. Our entire organization is based on CloudCoin. And so the market of CloudCoin is very new. It's less than a year old. And we're starting to see it develop and starting to see it grow into an economy.
Okay. But you can't really take your CloudCoin wallet down to Walmart or some brick and mortar store, or even use it on Amazon. Can you?
Well, right now we don't have an SDK to make it easy, but you actually can. And we have, if you can get a message, like if you go to Amazon.com and you get a hold of a seller and you can send them a message, you can actually send them a CloudCoin and buy something using the Amazon system without using PayPal or going completely around their system. So it is possible. And we have had lots of, we do have lots of people that are purchasing in different ways. You just have to have people that believe in the currency that want to buy and trade with it. And
okay.
That's the education process.
I've got an idea, but we've got to go to a break. When we get back from this break, I want to share this idea with you and see what you think.
Sounds very good.
Peter Faulkner here. I attended a one-day flip starter training session led by Roger Blankenship, and I was amazed to see what has happened in Roger's life in the last 15 or plus years, flipping over 800 houses. And in this one-day training, he told how he did it and what the pitfalls, the blessings, the benefits, and how to do it. And I was so impressed with how well organized and how smooth the training went today. If you're tempted or encouraged to go, go. It was not a bad price. And if you get a chance to do it, even just to consider investing. But I just want to thank Roger for a great day today and appreciate what he's doing. Thank you, Roger.
All right before we went to the break, I had this thought that maybe this is a metaphor that will help me understand it, and maybe some others understand it. Really, if you have something to trade, you have to have, I've taught people about money and, money as a theory and money as a philosophy and so forth, and the inherent value of one of those green pieces of paper that has all that printing on it, this value that we attach to it. So really, you have to find someone else who values it the same way you do, and then you can trade with them. Fair enough?
Well, I think that, first of all, what we used to think was the value of money was what it was put on. For example, if we put it on gold, or if we put it on silver, or if we put it on paper. But it's actually the data, it's the numbers that go on there, and it's important that you can't counterfeit it. It's important that you can't lose it.
Right.
So the whole paradigm is changing with our discoveries with CloudCoin about what money is. But economies and monetary systems have, I would call, an energy level. And the more people that accept them, the more people that trade them, that starts to build up the value in the entire system, and it starts building up the value of the currency. It kind of like makes the pie increase.
I think that's right. Now we're talking monetary theory, and we're also delving into the world of Forex type of things. I don't want to get too far off of that. I want to focus on your product and the technology, but it is important to understand that, Cloud Coin or Ethereum or any of the hundreds of coins. And, just as a little aside, when I was talking to Stan, I had this idea. He said, each person can make their own coin if they want to, and then you got to create utility for it and get public notice and blah, blah, blah. And I was thinking, well, maybe we should create something called the flip coin, for flipping houses. Well, I went and looked after that interview, and it's already out there.
Oh, no.
And, yeah, it's used for something not related to real estate, but there is something called the home coin or the house coin. I can't remember which. That is used for buying houses, and it's a crowdfunding source and a cryptocurrency for that. So probably everything that I could think of has already been thought of before. And there are all these coins out there, and when you start really looking there, it gets confusing to know really where this is going to wind up.
Well, I think go ahead. I was just going to say that a lot of what people are calling coins are actually, I believe, stocks. And so when they're talking about this coin and that coin, they're actually talking about a stock system in which you can buy ownership in a project or in a program, and stocks and money are very similar because they can be traded, but there is some big differences in that a stock refers to something where a real digital currency does not. It stands alone. And so Cloud Coin is definitely not a stock or what's sometimes called a token, but the bit shares would be.
Okay, I get that. And when I was talking to Stan, it did seem like I would be buying shares of a company. And he was encouraging everyone listening to take a $5 cup of Starbucks every week and put that into BitShares instead and see how that brought more benefit to you. And it sounded like, just a regular stock type of investment. But you're talking about something that's completely different. And this is a currency. And so it also seems a little bit like Forex trading to me, because there is a conversion rate, isn't there?
Well, like we don't actually have an exchange, and you can go out and buy Cloud Coins pretty much instantly, and you could call that an exchange because you're paying dollars or you're paying rubles or yen, or because you can buy them all over the world, and it's being exchanged into Cloud Coins. But there doesn't have to be an exchange. You can have a Cloud Coin without ever touching any other money. You can keep your money in Cloud Coin completely.
How would you get it in the first place?
Well, you'd have to trade it for work generally, or some kind of product. Okay. And so suppose that somebody wanted to hire you to do a webcast for them or something, then certainly they could pay you in Cloud Coin. You could get Cloud Coin and then buy other things with it.
All right. Okay. But now you did have a buy link on your site. I didn't click on it yet, but apparently you can go and buy coin. What does a Cloud Coin cost in dollars right today?
Well, you have to shop around, but it's anywhere from, I think the lowest that I've seen these days is 5 cents. The highest I've seen is 10 cents. And so different people sell at different prices. There's places in the United States that sell for usually 10 cents, and people in the Philippines that sell for 7 cents.
All right. So let's just say 10 cents a coin. What's been the trend over the last, and now when was it introduced?
It was introduced March 15th of last year. So it's almost been a year now.
All right. So it's been trading at something like that since the beginning?
It started at 1 cent. And so it's gone up quite a bit. It's gone up about 10 times.
All right. That's not bad. Especially if you bought, $100,000 worth of back then.
Yes. Although we try not to encourage investors to buy it because they seem to have a lot of expectations, and they get to be quite a pain. But we're going to have a exchange here pretty soon, and that will make it much easier for investors to buy it and use it.
It doesn't take much of a bold prediction to say if word gets out that you've got something that's growing in value, investors and speculators will be there.
Absolutely, because that's the way that money is. If I see somebody making $1 million, I want to do the same thing,
right?
regardless of what it is.
Yeah, get in quick while the getting's good, and before the market becomes efficient, and then you can't make that much money anymore.
Yes.
That's kind of what we do in real estate. You know, we find little various opportunities or pockets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so hey, look, we've got to go to a break. When we come back, I would like to for everyone to get to know Sean a little bit better. Is that all right?
Sure, absolutely.
Okay.
My name's Pat K. Wood, and I'm from Cleveland, Tennessee, and I've been doing some flipping since about March of this year, and had started with a national program that was very expensive. I've spent today with Roger Blankenship learning about his program, and boy, do I wish I had met Roger first. He has a clear, concise program and many tools that are going to be very helpful in starting and managing a program, and the mentorship and leadership and coaching that he's offering are invaluable. Thank you so much, Roger, for your time and sharing with us.
And we are back. I'm Roger Blankenship, the Flipping America guy, and I teach people how to make money in real estate. With me is Sean Worthington, and he teaches computer science, and he also is the genius behind CloudCoin. I think you're the scientist with the CloudCoin.global.
That's right. Mm-hmm.
And CloudCoin is it's a global e-currency that is not rooted in the blockchain, and they don't consider themselves a cryptocurrency, and they distinguish themselves because one of the things you mentioned before is the raida. Now, I'm familiar with a little bit of this, the redundant array of inexpensive drives, but you've got another A, and you've got a little bit different definition. What is a raida?
That's right. So we did base the name off of RAID, which is a technology that allows you to store data from your computer fault tolerantly on hard drive sets. And so that if one hard drive fails, that the other ones will succeed, or you'll be able to still retain the data.
Mm-hmm.
What we basically do is we have all of the data is on the CloudCoin, and it's got 25 passwords, and we then store these passwords on 25 different clouds. They're all different. They have different hardware, different software, different jurisdictions, different parts of the world. And that gives us our fault tolerance, so that if there's nuclear bombs or governments try to bring them down, or hackers or whatever, we can still keep the system up and going.
Okay. And now, did you invent this, or were you a part of the team then?
So I invented this. I've been teaching system administration for the past 17, 18 years. And I've got a lot of certifications. For example, I'm a Cisco certified Academy instructor, Microsoft certified trainer, Microsoft certified systems engineer, a lot of other things, and about 30 different professional certifications. Plus, I have taught things like the TCP/IP protocol and the DNS protocol. And I've noticed that there are certain protocols that have lasted humanity and have never gone down. And so the internet itself is built on the TCP/IP protocol. This is where we get our IP addresses. This is what allows all computers to talk to each other. Hackers would love to bring it down, but it's nuclear proof. In fact, I was a veteran, and when we were bombing the hell out of Saddam Hussein, we were trying to bring down his network. We couldn't, because the CIA had put it up there, and they put it up well using the mesh topology. And so the internet the TCP/IP protocol was created to survive nuclear wars. And there's also the DNS system, the domain name service. And that allows us to figure out what our IP addresses are based on fun names like www.google.com. And that we use thousands of times every day, each of us. And it's never gone down since 1985. And so I was looking at these different protocols, and I created my own protocol, the Redundant Array of Independent Detection Agents protocol. And it allows us to have a whole bunch of clouds up there. It uses a new system. We've never had a system in which we have 25 servers authenticating all in parallel all at the same time. We usually just authenticate with one server at a time, but this is 25 different systems all at the same time. So it uses a fuzzy logic. And we also have a system that uses what I call triple Kerberos. Kerberos is a very strong way of making sure that only authorized people have access to things. And what we can do is we can heal broken raida arrays by using this technology. So that makes it self-healing, and it's a new type of technology, and I patented it. We're going to be the only ones that use it.
Okay, so let's go back a little bit into time, back to young Sean. When you were in the fifth grade and the local fireman and policeman and the insurance guy came by and did career day in school, you thought about what you wanted to be when you grew up. What were you thinking you wanted to be?
Well, the age 5, I didn't have much of an idea, but as soon as computers—
Grade 5. Did I say age 5? Let's talk about grade 5.
Fifth grade. Actually, you said fifth grade. So in fifth grade, we had an Atari computer come to our school. And so this is back in the days before computers. And we got this, Atari computer, and it sparked my imagination. I decided I wanted to become a computer programmer.
Okay. So you wanted to be, you wanted to do something with computers. You knew that right from then.
Yeah. As soon as the Atari 400 came out and we had it at our school, I learned how to program it within days and was just very fascinated with the power that you got from being able to control this machine, and definitely wanted to make that part of my life.
Yeah. My first experience with a computer was TRS-80. We used to call them the Trash 80.
Fantastic.
And
yes.
Our data storage was a cassette tape.
Yes, that was a good times if you had one of those.
It wasn't even mine; it was my cousin's. But I'd go over to his house, and he actually won his computer in a dump truck drag race.
Oh my goodness!
No kidding.
Fantastic.
My dad and his dad were partners together in a construction company, and Brian borrowed a dump truck and said, "Hey, Dad, I want to go enter this into a dump truck drag race," and he won that computer. And to this day, he works in the computer industry. A lot of years later.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, so you knew right early on you wanted to be in computers.
Mm-hmm.
But you've taken it and you've done something with it that very few others have ever done. And so congratulations on that. We've got to go to a break. And when we come back from the break, I want to dig a little deeper in the technology, okay?
Sure.
Hey, I'm Roger Blankenship, the Flipping America guy. I'm excited to talk to you about FlipStarter. It's our one-day speed course on learning how to flip houses. You're not going to believe everything you're going to learn in one day. We're going to start right on time, we'll end right on time, and we're going to cram a lot of information in there in the meantime. You're going to learn how to put together your team. We'll show you how to find prospects, learn how to negotiate with sellers, run the numbers like a pro, be able to make the basics of a repair estimate, figure out what the property is going to sell for, and best of all, I'm going to show you before the day's over how you can get your deals 100% funded. Your credit is not an issue, your cash position is not a hindrance, your current situation is not going to hold you back. Now look, I'm going to make a couple of promises here about this training. Promise number 1, I can't tell you in one day everything you need to know about flipping houses. I've been doing it for 15 years and hundreds of houses, and I still don't know everything. But number 2, you will learn the basics of fixing and flipping a house. And if you come to this thing and you pay attention and you follow the steps that I give you, you'll have what you need to really get started. And number 3, I'm going to give you enough information in one day that you can make $5,000 in the next 30 days. That's right. You can do it. You can do it. I know you can do it. So if you've ever thought about flipping houses, you owe it to yourself to check out FlipStarter. You can check us out at flipstarterevent.com. Scroll to the bottom of the page and look at what other people are saying about the training. And we'll see you there. And I mean that. I'm going to be there in person, not some speaker that I've hired. I'll see you there. Okay, we're back. I'm Roger. He's Sean. We're talking cloud coin. So tell us the future. What do you see happening with cloud coin? Then let's talk a little bit broader about the other types of coin or cryptocurrency.
Well, we're seeing two different possibilities, I think, about the future. One of those possibilities is the fact that we might have what I call blockchain socialism. We've actually saw this start to unfold in Venezuela because they're the first country that's had a national blockchain. And they are saying it's based on the it's based on oil, but it's really just bull crap, really. What happens is that the government can assign people accounts on the blockchain, and then they can track everything that everybody buys or sells. They can see who they buy it to, who they sell it from, and they can automatically take currency from one person to another person. They can redistribute the wealth, and so they can create a very inexpensive type of socialism.
Boy, isn't that exciting? Because we all want that.
And who wants to have everybody in the world know what they're buying and selling, especially the government? So that's a very problematic thing, because the blockchain is pseudo anonymous. It's not actually anonymous. If they know your account number, they know who you are. However, something like CloudCoin is completely different. Since there's no accounts, there's no signups, and there's no recorded transactions, we can trade person to person or over the internet or even over the phone without anybody knowing about it. We figured out how we can store cloud coins in our minds and how we can transfer them over Whisper. And so this gives us the ability to trade all over the world instantly, and it allows us to trade without taxes or tariffs or legal restrictions. And so, with Bitcoin, a lot of people, they got into Bitcoin because they were trying to buy oil in Venezuela, and they were trying to get around the Venezuelan government, and that worked very good. But for retail, Bitcoin's been an absolute failure because it takes hours and hours for a transaction to complete. But with CloudCoin, the transactions happen within milliseconds, and it's completely anonymous. So this opens up whole new frontiers of human development.
Yeah, while you were talking there, I was thinking, and I was wondering whether or not I wanted to mention the IRS, but when the IRS sees something like critical mass, when you have a certain volume or they hear about it, they're going to be looking into this because value passed on and value received and value growing. They have the opinion that some of that money belongs to the federal government. And what are you going to do when the IRS comes knocking?
Well, the cat is out of the bag, so to speak. The technology has already been invented with Bitcoin. And so if the IRS, for example, is to come and arrest me and say that I'm trying to lead some kind of tax evasion effort, there's really nothing they can do about it. They can throw me in jail and they can take all my computers and my cell phones, but that doesn't change anything because these devices, these clouds do not depend on me or individuals. So what's going to happen is the governments are going to have to realize that they have to go after the people, not the money, because the money doesn't commit crimes. It's the people that commit the crimes. I'm not suggesting that anybody should not pay taxes, but I'm saying that it's pretty clear that less people will pay taxes, because with Bitcoin, we see that there are lots of purchases that are not reported.
Right. Well, I mean, this is just a hypothetical example because I don't design websites for a living, but let's suppose I designed a website for someone and they paid me with CloudCoin. How would I even report that as income?
Well, I'm certain that in the future, the government would probably be happy to take CloudCoin once it becomes valuable and they can exchange it themselves. But how would they know? They wouldn't even know. There's no way to tell, really. They would have to look at evidence. They'd have to say, well, this website showed up somewhere and somebody created it, and they would have to know who did it. And so it's going to be very difficult and time-consuming and expensive for the IRS to try to go after people that are not paying their taxes with digital currency. Okay.
Earlier you pointed out that the value in the first year of CloudCoin has grown tenfold. What do you see happening with the value in the next 12 months?
Well, I hate to even speculate because I don't want to get people excited and think that I'm lying to them or trying to con them or something. But we haven't been on an exchange yet, and we don't. And our SDK is coming out within the next month. This
What's an
allows
SDK?
So the SDK stands for Software Development Kit, and it
Okay.
allows programmers who want to include CloudCoin in their video games, in their accounting systems, on their web pages so that they can take payments. It allows them to just quickly take that code and stick it in their programs. We're going to demo the whole thing at the Game Developers Conference in March. We're going to show how we actually, CloudCoin is the first crossover currency that can go from the real world into the virtual reality. It can be traded in virtual reality, creating virtual economies. And so I think it's going to blow up. And I think it could, and we've got this exchange, and we're not talking to little people exchanges. We're talking to big super exchanges. And if we get these exchanges, it's going to blow up. I think it could go, at least to $1, which would be 10 times more. But I wouldn't be surprised if it went to 50. I mean, I believe that our currency is much better than anything else out there, and that it deserves to be at $50 per CloudCoin, just based on the current market. So I think it's going to explode.
Okay. Well, we're right up on a break. And so let's take a quick break. And let me remind everyone, if you have questions about the technology, I want you to send your questions to questions@flippingamericanetwork.com. We'll forward them on to the right people. We'll make sure your questions get answered. 100% of the questions that come into the show get answered. Some of them on the air and a lot of them, offline, but we'll answer the questions. And do you have a way, Sean, for people to contact you right before we go to this break?
Yes, if they want to sign up for our newsletter, they can go to digitalfrontiernews.com, sign up for the newsletter, and they get 5 free CloudCoins, a copy of my book. And so that's one way. They can also go to Twitter and go to CloudCoin Global, or they can Google buy CloudCoins.
Okay. Any of those. That's good. All right. We'll be right back.
I'm Bradley Ford. I'm from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. And I am really glad I chose to come down to Atlanta from Kentucky to take the class. We get tons of good information about flipping houses and real estate in general, but in addition to the information, we get a ton of useful tools to go back with to help us make good decisions when we're looking for properties and looking for deals. And in addition to that, we're now a part of a team who wants to see us succeed. So overall, this is a worthy investment, and take it seriously because I really believe it's going to change my life and my family's life. If you're having a hard time deciding whether you should come to the class or not, I really recommend you taking the 3 days out of a week and coming to take the class, because it is absolutely worth your time and it's absolutely worth the money.
And we're back. I'm Roger. He's Sean. We're talking about CloudCoin today. We've been talking about cryptocurrency, and I'm still trying to get my brain wrapped around cryptocurrency. And here you come, throw us another curveball with something a little bit different. It's in the same, the same ball field, I guess, right?
Yes, arena? It's a digital currency.
Okay. Now, we talked about the future of CloudCoin, and man, when you were talking about the video game thing, suddenly I see a connection here. Because I know people are there's a lot of like pretend currency in some of these video games. I've never played them, but the massive multiplayer online games,
yes.
I've never done any of them. I think maybe I'm too old. I was too serious and busy focused on, adult stuff when video games really became popular. Now, when I was in college, it was pay a quarter and play a thing down at the mall.
That's right. Yes,
that was video games. But I see that they've gone a lot further that way. But the idea of being able to earn CloudCoin and then turn those into real money, and I know that also that there are professional video gamers.
Yes,
which kind of blows me away.
So we can create entire virtual economies in which you go into some kind of virtual world and you provide some virtual service and you make a real living with real money. And that's all happens, we could have a virtual world in which people go and set up virtual stores. We could have a virtual market where they rent virtual space. We've already creating a virtual bank. And so we're seeing, the possibility for a virtual economy, and it's going to change everything.
if it's virtual, why do you have to rent virtual space? Can't you just create your own virtual space?
Well, you certainly could, but it might be that we have some kind of server called Cloud Coin Market or something, and that's where everybody goes. And so it's for like one-stop shopping. And so maybe, it would be worth it to pay $5 a month or something to have some virtual store. It'd be very efficient, and then everybody's going to be there.
Or have a virtual shelf in your virtual store.
That's right. Yes. And so we can't even imagine what's going to happen.
Yeah. All right. So let's fly the plane up at 30,000 feet now and look over the landscape. It's not too much of a stretch to say monetary policy is kind of in a mess everywhere. In spite
Absolutely.
of all, in spite of all of that, though, the American, I've been in Russia and I've been to other countries, and
yes,
you can trust me when I say they want dollars.
Yes.
Because it is the most stable currency in the world.
Mm-hmm.
So when we lift the plane off and fly above this whole landscape of all of this, what do you see happening with the explosion of cryptocurrency and coins like yours?
So right now, everybody's trying to find a global currency. And we tried Bitcoin and we broke it. It can only take 7 transactions a second. That moved to Ethereum, and then CryptoKitties came along and it got broken. And so now it's going to Ripple, and it's going to go cascading down until it finds something. We have designed CloudCoin to work, to handle the entire global economy. And I think we're going to find that, and that's going to be much better than rubles, but it's also going to be much better than the United States dollar, because the United States dollar is basically created as a pact between the U.S. government and the United States banking system. And they do not have to, monetary system does not have to be that way. In fact, a monetary system is an information system. It should be run by computer administrators, not by economists. And so the monetary system should be completely separate from the government and from the bank. And if we can create a system like that, it's going to give everybody an advantage who uses it. Anybody that tries to make it illegal is going to be cutting off their own nose, because they're going to be killing their own economy. And that's going to dominate everything. It's going to be, back 1,000 years ago, the best you could do was gold and silver, and that was kind of the global economy. We'll see that again with the digital money.
Okay. How long?
How long will it take?
Yeah.
Well, I think that we're going to see the standard S curve. And so right now we're at the tip of the tip, and we'll start to get some early adopters, and then we'll start to get the mainstream adopters and the stragglers. It's definitely going to take, 20 years, I think, to get mainstream.
Really? 20 years? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm talking about global. So I'm talking about you being able to fly to Nigeria and buy stuff with the same money that you're buying in America. In fact, you'll be able to buy real estate in Nigeria before you even arrive.
Okay.
And, because we will have a global market.
If you're setting 20 years as the over-under mark, I'm going to go on the under. Because what always amazes me is I see some new thing and I think that'll never work. And then it just takes off.
Yes.
And becomes, I think that nobody really saw Facebook overtaking MySpace,
Yes.
So you never can tell. The other thing that I think also is, we may create 1,000 different types of coin between now and the next 3 or 4 years. And when it all settles out, we probably have half a dozen, if that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I would see it less than that, maybe 3.
Okay.
Because, we had hundreds of car makers back when the automobile was first invented.
Right.
And within 10 years, they were wiped out to just a few. So I think that we're going to see the same thing. CloudCoin is the second mover, and it shows that there's other technologies besides cryptocurrencies. And it also shows that we can solve a lot of the problems.
But since it's money, do you also agree with my suspicion that sooner or later there will be some type of gov coin?
Some kind of government coin?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Governments will create their own coins because they want to control things. They might make it mandatory that their citizens use them. but the people will fight against that. They will resist, and they might even vote the people out of office. Because if your local politician says, hey, you got to use this stupid coin, you might say, no, I'm going to get another politician. You're voted out of office. That's kind of what happened in South Korea. South Korea decided they wanted to make exchanges illegal, and their politicians got so much heat from it that they had to back off. So this is going to be something that's very important to people. People want to be free. They don't want to be told what to do. They will resist. If you live in North Korea, you might be stuck with their currency. But if you live in America, you can vote the suckers out of office.
So last question. Cloud coin. You see it as one of the survivors. You see it as the dominant force.
Absolutely. I think that we're going to be starting to dominate with this time next year. So I think if you had me back this time next year, you would see us all over the place.
Okay.
We'd be making waves.
Okay. And I know, compared to you, I know nothing about this industry, but I'm going to say your 20-year prediction is on the high side, and I'm just going to say 5. But it's more of a guess based on how I've seen technology.
It's definitely possible, because it's been about 7 or 8 years with Bitcoin. It should be faster.
Okay.
But,
all right, Sean, very enlightening. Thank you so much. I'm going to spend some more time on your website, and let's circle back around in a year. I'm going to go ahead and put it on my calendar. And
sounds wonderful.
Yeah, we'll have you back then, and we'll see where you are. Okay?
All right.
Thanks for joining us.